Thank you for tuning in one more time. You know what time it is. We are back like we never left. It is your boy Genesis. Welcome to the live stream. Smash the like button, double tap your screen. We are back, back, back. All right, you know what time it is. The time is currently 7:48 p.m. and it is the 24th of September 2024. How are you doing this beautiful, beautiful fall evening? How are you doing? Let me know how you're doing. Shout out to Kensley. Kensley, I see you, Kensley. How are you doing? Welcome to the live show. I hope you are having a wonderful evening. How are you doing? How are you doing? We are back. You know what time it is. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you one more time. Thank you. All right. As you all know, it is the time that I have to let you know the legend, the 45th. Some people say he might be the 47th. He had a speech today, and it was for the Made in the USA plan, and it is also an economic plan for his coming administration if he wins. This is if he wins. But if the 45th former President Donald J. Trump doesn't win, then he this wouldn't happen. But this is just if he win. Shout out to Corinne Jackson. You know what time it is. Corinne. Shout out to Corinne. Okay, man, it's been what? Couple of it's been it's been a long time, Corinne. Shout out to Corinne, man. Corinne, are you feeling better now? How is everything going with you and the little boo boo? The little boo boo, the little boo boo. How is the little boo boo doing? Okay. All right. We back. All right. Just so I don't waste y'all time, we're going to go straight to the point. Let's listen to the 45th. Some people say he might be the 47th. Let's go.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. And hello, Savannah, and hello, Georgia. We love Georgia. It's great to be back in this beautiful state with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. That's what you are, American patriots. And think of this, 42 days from now, we are going to win the state of Georgia. We are going to defeat Comrade Kamala Harris. And we are going to make America great again. But we're here today to talk about how we're going to launch a historic buildup of American manufacturing muscle and might. This is not a rally, although it feels like a rally. It's really a little event with my 5,000 or 6,000 closest friends in the whole world. But Georgia and Savannah are going to be right in the center of the action. We're going to rebuild our manufacturing, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen fast and beautifully. For years, Americans have watched as our country was stripped of jobs and wealth, and our companies were sold off to foreign countries. You've been watching, and it's been a horror show. I've been watching for many years, and we had it stemmed. And then all of a sudden, bad things happened. Bad things happened. But boy, I'll tell you, we had it stemmed. If we would have had 4 more years, everything, this would be such a different country right now. We would have had no inflation. You wouldn't have Russia attacking Ukraine. You wouldn't have had October 7th with Israel. The Middle East is blowing up. We could be very close to World War III with these characters that don't have any idea what they're doing. But what a shame. In Afghanistan, what a disaster. That was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country, I believe. But GE appliances were sold to the Chinese. IBM computers were again sold to China. Under Kamala Harris, U.S. Steel is now being sold to Japan. I will stop it. We got to do fast. We got to work fast, but we're not going to let it happen. We're not going to let U.S. Steel. 70 years ago, the greatest company on earth, U.S. Steel. Now it's going to be sold off like it was nothing. We're not going to let that happen. We'll build it up. We'll make it strong, but we're not going to let that happen. But with the vision I'm outlining today, not only will we stop our businesses from leaving for foreign lands, but under my leadership, we're going to take other countries' jobs. Did you ever hear that expression before? Have you ever heard? That we're going to take other countries' jobs? It's never been stated before. We're going to take their factories, and we had it really rocking 4 years ago. We're going to bring thousands and thousands of businesses and trillions of dollars in wealth back to the good old USA. That's what we're going to be doing it, and doing it fast. And under my plan, American workers will no longer be worried about losing your jobs to foreign nations. Instead, foreign nations will be worried about losing their jobs to America. Going to bring them back. And it won't even be difficult. Your only worry will be deciding which job to take. There will be plenty of them. That will be your biggest problem. Darling, which company should I go with? We're going to bring them back, and we're going to bring them back at levels not to be believed, but you'll believe it in about 2 years from now. You're going to say, wow, that happened fast. You're going to have so many companies wanting to come in because this is where the money is. It won't be if we keep running it like we have for the last 4 years. But this is what they want. This is what they want, and you'll hear the plan. I want German car companies to become American car companies. I want them to build their plants here. I want to beat China in electronics production, and we'll be able to do that easily. We have the greatest genius, the greatest minds here, and then we end up building them in different places. A lot of that's really stupid tax policy. I want GE, IBM, and every other manufacturer that left us to be filled with regret and come sprinting back to our shores, and they will. So as your president, here is the deal that I will be offering to every major company and manufacturer on earth. I will give you the lowest taxes, the lowest energy costs, the lowest regulatory burden, and free access to the best and biggest market on the planet, but only if you make your product here in America. It all goes away if you don't make your product here, and hire American workers for the job. If you don't make your product here, then you will have to pay a tariff, a very substantial tariff, when you send your product into the United States. And by the way, you know, for years they knocked the word tariff, properly used, is a beautiful word. One of the most beautiful words I've ever heard. It's music to my ears. A lot of bad people didn't like that word, but now they're finding out I was right. And we will take in hundreds of billions of dollars into our treasury and use that money to benefit the American citizens, and it will not cause inflation, by the way. And you know, I took in from China hundreds of billions of dollars in taxes and tariffs, and I had no inflation. We didn't have any inflation, 1.2%. We had essentially no inflation. Now, you've had, over the last 4 years, you've had the highest inflation, I think, in the history of our country. Somebody said, no, sir, it's only 58 years. Well, that's pretty bad, too. I think it's really in the history of our country. This is the policy that built America, and this is the policy that is going to save America. It's going to save us, because we have gone so far down in so many different ways, not to mention the border, not to mention 21 million people pouring in from places unknown, totally unvetted. But like I've always called it, because it's a very beautiful and simple term, it's called America First. We're putting America first. This new American industrialism will create millions and millions of jobs, massively raise wages for American workers, and make the United States into a manufacturing powerhouse like it used to be many years ago. We will be able to build ships again. We will be able to build airplanes at a much higher level again. We will become the world leader in robotics and every other field. The U.S. auto industry, which has been decimated over many, many decades, will once again be the envy of the planet. We're not going to accept all of these cars. They come in from every country, and it knocks out. You know, I was up in Michigan. We're doing very well in Michigan. By the way, we're doing very well in Georgia. We're leading by quite a bit. But pretend you're 1 point down, please, and go and vote, okay? Don't. Just go vote. You got to vote. We got to win this. If we don't win this election, our country is gone. I really believe it. To the auto workers in Michigan, Georgia, and all other parts of our country, I am pinpointing you for greatness. Your industry has been decimated by many decades of incompetent leadership, both political and at your company level. You had presidents of your company that sold out our country. They didn't know what they were doing. They were horrible. And you had politicians that were grossly incompetent to let that happen. Your auto industry has been decimated. And again, with the electric car, it's all going to be made in China. The head of the United Auto Workers ought to be ashamed of himself for what he's done. But we're going to turn it around, and we're going to turn it around fast. China is right now building major auto plants in Mexico. Did you know that? They were going to start with me. I said, no, if you do them, I'm putting a 200% tariff on every car that comes. And they decided we'll pass. Then they said, wow, now we can build Trump. We won't have to worry about him anymore. Oh, here I am. Here I am. Here I am. We're leading in the polls. We're leading by a lot. We're leading by a lot. They said, oh, we don't have to worry about him. No, they have to worry about me. That's why they don't like me. You know, they used to like Obama. They used to like... They like Biden. You know why? Because they got away with murder. That's why they like Biden. They love Biden. Why would you like Biden except that you took advantage of him? They took advantage of him. And they think they're going to sell their cars into the United States and destroy Michigan and South Carolina and North Carolina and Georgia and all of the places that make autos. Not going to happen. We will put a 100% tariff on every single car coming across the Mexican border. And tell them the only way they'll get rid of that tariff is if they want to build a plant right here in the United States with you people operating that plant. We want American citizens, and we want their plants built here, not 2 feet over the border and selling them into our country. We're not doing that. We don't do that anymore. A friend of mine does auto plants. He builds auto plants. That's what he's great at. He's great, the biggest in the world. And I said, I want to see a plant. Pretty recently ago, I want to see a plant. Where would we go? I said, would we go to Detroit? Someplace in Michigan, ideally. He says, no, you can't go there, sir. They're not. We'll have to go to Mexico. The big ones are being built in Mexico. I said, why is that? He said, well, they have a lot of tax reasons, and China's coming in big, and they think they're going to make their car and sell it in tax-free into the United States. But the big ones, if you want to see a really big modern plant, come with me to Mexico. I said, I'm not interested in going to Mexico. I want those plants built here. And that'll happen. In fact, when they learn about the 100 or 200% tariff, you know, they'll probably say, yeah, let's stop construction immediately. You'll see a big difference. I will bring automobile manufacturing back to the highest level in the history of our country. You know, it used to be we were the only place, and then it just got chipped away, mostly by China and Japan, and all of a sudden we were down more than 55% from where we were years ago. But it'll be like it was 50 years ago, and these jobs, they'll become roaring back, and we're going to be making autos at a level that you've never seen before. We'll be making cars bigger, better, more beautiful, stronger, and faster than ever before. Billions of people around the globe will soon be buying products proudly stamped, made in the USA. Or if you prefer, if you have to do it, made in Georgia. You can do that too. And they'll be exported through the port of Savannah. We had a little bit to do with that deeper port. Under my leadership, we helped deepen the port. You know that. We helped deepen the port once, and now I understand they want to do it again. And we will get in, and we will get that done very quickly. We'll work with your governor, and we're going to get that done very quickly. This will be a major undertaking involving the Army Corps of Engineers and transportation officials throughout your state. It's going to happen fast. This will happen so fast, you're going to say, gee, I thought he just said we're going to do it. You know, we have a strength over environmental impact statements. Sometimes they'll delay a project for 20 years, 25 years. With me, I think if it takes more than a month to get an approval, my people are not doing a very good job, all right? We'll get it done very quickly. With a world-class port and a world-class workforce, this city will soon become one of the premier export hubs anywhere on Earth, tripling and quadrupling traffic as your power will lead an American manufacturing boom. We're going to have a manufacturing boom, and a lot of it's just taxation policy, tariff policy. They're going to come roaring back. When they have to pay tariffs to come in, but they have incentive to build here, they're going to come roaring back. It's this. It's not muscle. It's all right there. That's a muscle, too, they say. By contrast, listen to the deal, Kamala Harris. Have you heard of her? You know, I had the first debate, and after that, Biden was down 21 points. And they went to him and they said, you're going to lose, you can't win, you're out. This is a coup, by the way. This guy had 14 million votes. We're going to put in somebody else. The last person was going to be Kamala Harris, but then they decided to be politically correct, and she got the job. She was the last one. There were 14 people mentioned. She was number 15, and she got the job. And if you saw her with Oprah the other day, or if you saw some of these interviews, there's something going on up there. We just had 4 years of that. We can't have another 4 years. Not going to happen. But she is offering to companies to entice them to keep jobs in America instead of shipping jobs overseas. First, she wants to listen to this. She's called the tax queen. They love her in other countries because she forces everybody out of our country into their hands. The tax queen is demanding a 33% tax hike on all domestic production. Now, you know, you can hate companies and all that, but they fuel growth and they fuel jobs, they fuel everything. You tell these companies, they don't care. They just assume be in Europe. They just assume, they don't care. They want to go best price, it's called, best deal. And they're going to leave our country in droves if she does that. It's nice to say, you're going to pay 33% more. And one day you'll read, oh, gee, so-and-so, they just signed with China. They just signed with Germany. They just signed with Great Britain is dying to have. They'll give you free tax. Next, she wants the largest capital gains tax in the history of our country. We've never had a tax. And then she's telling people, build your place here, but we're going to have a brand new wealth confiscation tax. So if you make money, you're going to pay us a lot. But more importantly, it's called an unrealized capital gain. You know what that is? That means that you're going to pay a capital gain even if you haven't realized it, even if you haven't sold. So a lot of people are rich, but they don't have cash. Now they're going to have to get cash because if their thing goes up in value, they have to pay a massive tax. You're going to have deterioration. You're going to have a depression. If that happens, you have a 1929-style depression. This woman is grossly incompetent. Grossly incompetent. Think of it. If a company succeeds, you have to sell it to give her half the value. Half the value is going to be owned by the government. So if it's successful, you'll have to sell it because you don't have the cash. It's a huge success. You're going to make a lot of money in the future. We don't care about the future. Sell your company now, and bad things happen. And nobody's, by the way, nobody's tried it. It's a communist kind of thing. You know that? You could say it's a Marxist thing if you like, but communist you understand better. In addition, Kamala is shutting down power plants nationwide. causing electricity prices to soar more than 100%, going up 100%. They will soon be totally out of control. They already are, and businesses will flee. They're going to flee our country. If they can't get energy, they're going to flee our country, and they're going to flee fast. And yet we have more energy under our feet than any other country. I call it liquid gold. Liquid gold. We have more. We have more than Saudi Arabia. We have more liquid gold than Russia, and yet we're buying oil from Venezuela. Why? And it's not really oil, it's tar. You have to melt it. And you know where they melt it? Talk about the environment. There's only one plant in the world that can take care of it because it's really not good. It's the worst. Only one. You know where it's located? Houston, Texas. So in Houston, Texas, they clean this stuff up, and you know where the stuff goes? Right up there. So if you're a big believer in the environment, this is not good. But we have the best oil on earth, and we have the most oil, clean, beautiful stuff, and we have the most. And we're going to use it. As I say, drill, baby, drill. That's what we're going to be doing, drill, baby, drill. And very importantly, she will close down all fracking and all fossil fuel development, which will bring our country into third world status. She's going to close down all fossil fuels. Germany tried it, but then they replaced Angela with somebody else, and that somebody else is now building a coal plant every single week in Germany. Germany was going to destroy themselves, I will say that. They were going to be out of business. They were having problems like nobody could believe. And that's how Kamala treats the American manufacturers. They can all leave whatever's left of them, and there's not that much. They've gotten rid of so much. But if instead you ship production overseas, then she will give you a tax break. So if you build your product, make your product overseas, she's offering a tax break to make it overseas. Now you wonder why Biden has made so much money from all these countries. I mean, personally made and through the family. Think of that. You get an incentive to build your product outside of the United States. I mean, you don't have to be too good at business to know that's not going to work. It's honestly, it'll destroy our country. And you know, one of the other things, even whatever she's going to do, she wants to do it. She's going to, you know, she's going to the border very soon. She hasn't been there for 4 years. The border czar. I'm not the border czar. Oh, for years she was the border czar. Right now she's saying because it's the worst border in history, but she's going to the border. It's very interesting. But you know what I ask? Well, even her policies now, they're crazy. They're crazy. They'll destroy country. But why didn't they do it 3.5 years ago? Now she's saying, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Whether she's right or wrong. So she had 3.5 years to do it. She didn't do anything. Our country has really gone back to levels. The only employment was all the bounce-back jobs that we created. Millions and millions bounced back right after the pandemic. Any pandemic anywhere, you have bounce-backs. And they had a bounce-back. But, you know, out of all the jobs that were created, most of those jobs went to illegal migrants. You know that. It didn't go to Americans. And what's happening with the people pouring into our country is they are killing the jobs of the black population and the Hispanic population. They're taking their jobs. So if you're black or Hispanic, thank you very much. Vote for Trump. You'll be in good shape. It's crazy. Those people are coming in, and they're taking the jobs of the black population and the Hispanic. And it makes sense. I mean, why not? And did you see black unemployment rose incredibly in the last 3 months? A lot of people say, why is that? Why is that? They can't. I'll tell you why. Because people are coming in and taking their jobs. That's the way it is. And it's no wonder that under Kamala Harris, we lost 24,000 manufacturing jobs last month. 24,000. We're going to turn that around so fast. We had created 650,000 manufacturing jobs before we even got ready to do it. And now we're ready. We're ready to do it. And the country's ready to do it. We need it. We have to have it. We need a renaissance. It's going to be a renaissance. But this horrific nightmare for American workers ends the day I take the oath of office, January 20th. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, listen to how good it is. It's so easy. It's so easy. China's used it for years, but we have a better plan than them. But they've used it for years. They can do whatever they want. You know, we have to go through certain hurdles, but not much. The centerpiece of my plan is for.
Thank you for tuning in one more time. You know what time it is. Double tap your screen, subscribe to the channel. This is the 45th President of the United States. Some people say he might be the 47th. And people are saying this man is a con artist, this man is bad, this man is ingenuine, is whatever name you call him. But the fact is, a lot of people resonate with what he is saying. Why? Why do so many people like what he's saying? Man, y'all be wild.
A manufacturing renaissance, which will be a 15% made in America tax rate. In other words, if you make your product in America, so the tax rate was practically close to 50%. Some people would say 38, but when you added it all up, some companies are paying much more with state and local, much more than 50%. But I got it down to 21% through Congress. Can you believe we got it through Congress? A lot of people say it was the greatest thing we did. I think maybe rebuilding the military was the greatest thing. Maybe the creation, maybe the creation of Space Force was the greatest. You know, we were being beaten badly in space, and now we're the leader in space. China and Russia were eating our lunch, and now we're eating their lunch. And we did so much. We gave you before the greatest, the biggest tax hikes in the history of our country, and the greatest regulatory cuts in the history. Think of it. We gave you, we took their tremendous tax hikes. We gave you the greatest tax cuts in the history of our country, bigger than Ronald Reagan's tax cuts, bigger than anybody's. And the hikes, they want to do it now. They want to hike your taxes at levels that we've never had before. 80%, 70% was a number that she thought sounded good. But we gave you the biggest tax cuts in history, and now we gave you the biggest regulation cuts, and that's how we had that tremendous growth. That's how we had the greatest job production in history. But this is going to blow that away. We're cutting the business tax now. We brought it down to 21%. So you could say it was over 50, but you could also say it was 39%. We got it down to 21%. Some of you great Congress people are here, and they are very, very instrumental in having done that. But now we're cutting the business tax from 21% to 15%, which makes us the most competitive tax anywhere on the planet, but only for those who make their product in the USA. See, that's an incentive. So we already cut it to 21%, and it was the 21%, that big cut, it was the 21 plus the regulatory cuts that gave us the greatest economy in our history. It was the greatest economy in the history of our country. And now what we're doing is taking it one step further, and a bigger step, actually. We're bringing it down to 15. Now we're the most competitive in the world. At 21, we were pretty good. At 15, we're the most competitive. People are going to be pouring in, companies are going to be pouring in, and we're going to continue with the regulatory cuts, and that'll be at a level, you know, we already beat every record for regulatory cuts. The problem is that Biden and Harris have put many of those regulatory cuts back in the books, and they didn't do anything. They were old, stayed. All they did was stop business. But we have U.S.-based manufacturers will also be rewarded with expanded research and development tax credits. You'll be able to write off 100% of the cost of heavy machinery and other equipment in the first year. And full expensing for new manufacturing investments. So you're going to get full expensing. In other words, you have a one-year write-off. You buy something, you have a one-year write-off, which gives you... I did that 1 year. We had a 5-year deal. During the period, you had a 1 year, you had a write-off, you take it off. The business boomed, and it was coming in at levels never seen before. And had we not been interrupted, and make sure there's no cheating in this election, please. What a different world we would have had. But it all helped to build the sprawling, state-of-the-art plants our country needs to be an industrial superpower in the modern world. We're going to have companies pouring into our country under this plan. And under my plan, we will cut energy and electricity prices in half within 12 months. And that means for your homes, too. We will commit, because of the fact that we're lucky. You know, China does not have this. Can you imagine? They want to go to electric cars, our people. But we don't have the product for electric cars. We have the product for gasoline-powered cars under our feet. And hybrids. And we want to have electric cars. Hey, Elon Musk is great, right? He makes an excellent car, an electric car, and he endorsed me at a level that you wouldn't believe. Every day he said, we can't have Trump. He's a great guy. And he understands his product is phenomenal. And there's a great place for electric cars. But you have to have gasoline-powered cars, too. You have to have hybrids. You have to have everything. You know, the new thing, and I'm sure Elon will get it if it's any good, but it's got one little problem. It explodes. Hydrogen. They say the new thing is hydrogen cars, but they're having a problem. If it explodes, you end up about 7 blocks away and you're dead. So personally, I don't know about you, but I'm going to take a pass. But maybe they'll figure it out, but right now I wouldn't recommend it. But there'll be other things happening, and they'll be great. But we don't want to have, they have the electric mandate. We'll be ending the electric mandate, all electric cars. We'll be ending that immediately. But more importantly, we will be able to quickly double our electric capacity, which will be needed to compete with China and other countries on artificial intelligence. You know, to do artificial, which is a big hot thing that's happening now. They say it's the next big wave. I don't know. It comes with risk, but it's the next hot thing. But it needs massive amounts of electricity. So if you took all of the electricity in our country right now, which isn't enough, because in California with Governor Newsom, you have blackouts and brownouts. How about him? He wants to go all electric cars, but he can't give you air conditioning in the summer, right? Let's go all electric, but we have a blackout every 10 seconds. It's crazy. It's crazy. But we're going to do things that nobody has ever really had the courage to do, but it doesn't take courage. It's common sense. You know, we're the party of common sense, okay? We're conservative, all that stuff. Who cares? We are the party of common sense. We will build new power plants. But think of this, the electric. So if you took all of the electric that we have right now in our country, you need that more than doubled to be able to compete with China. So they need more than double the electricity that we currently have to have the artificial intelligence, which will be a massive field. And China is already building plants, electric plants. And we have a problem because we have things called environmental impact statements and various things that you have to go through. I will get them approved so fast because China doesn't really need approval. President Xi says, okay, build that plant. That's the end. There's no environmental impact statement. I would ask him, President, do you go through an environmental impact statement? He says, I am the environmental impact statement. With us, you go through years and years of torture, but we're going to do it on an expedited basis. And with the lowest energy prices on Earth, we will have the lowest energy prices on Earth because we got lucky. We're right on top of the best stuff in the world. And I'll put Anwar back into play. You know, for Ronald Reagan couldn't do it. Nobody could do it. They couldn't get it done. Anwar in Alaska, the biggest field probably in the world, maybe bigger than Saudi Arabia. I got it done. I was so proud of it. I got it done. In his first week, they terminated it. The biggest field anywhere in the world that would supply Asia, would make so much money, would pay down debt so fast. And Biden rejected it. And when I terminated the Russian pipeline, Nord Stream 2, Biden approved it. But he terminated our pipeline, which is Nord Stream, right? The Nord Stream is the Russia, which is Keystone, the Keystone XL. He terminated our pipeline, but he approved the Russian pipeline. Nord Stream 2 going all over Europe, heading to Germany, but going all over Europe. And I just said, what the hell is going on? This was early on. This is in the first weeks of his administration. And I said, what's going on? And then they say, so think of it. I terminated the Russian pipeline, and then they said, Donald Trump was very friendly with Russia. That was the biggest thing that they've ever done, and I terminated it. When he came in, one of the first things he did is he approved the pipeline that I terminated. And they say, I was nice. That was the biggest. Putin told me, if you're like this, I would hate like hell to see if you were bad. They say that you've been nice to me. You have not been nice to me. With all the sanctions, but we had the fake Russia, Russia, Russia hoax, which, by the way, endangers our country when they do that. It turned out to be a total fake. Endangers, we can't have that. From the standpoint of even business, we have to be able to get along with other nations. We have to be able to use the minerals and other things that they have. But we have to make the proper deals, because we can, with the proper deals, there will be nobody on earth that can compete with us in business. We will attract energy-hungry industries. There are a lot of industries will never be able to make it in certain areas because they don't have energy, but we have energy-hungry industries that will attract them from all over the planet, meaning millions and millions of blue-collar jobs and jobs of every type. To slash burdens on workers and businesses, we will cut 10 old regulations for every one new regulation. And I did that for 4 years, and we got it up to 7 for 1. Nobody's ever seen. I cut more regulations than any president in history in 4 years. And we will set up special zones of federal land with ultra-low taxes and regulations for American producers. These will be ideal spots for relocating entire industries that we've taken in from other countries. They're going to come in at levels that nobody's ever seen before. They want to be here. They want to be, but they were forced to be out because in this country, we were so unfriendly in so many different ways, but especially with our tax policy. We will seriously expedite environmental approvals, and we will get everything approved quickly to unleash mineral production and rare earth. They think we have to go to China for rare earth. We don't. We have more rare earth than they do, but it's protected environmentally. We can't do anything about it. We're going to do something about it. We're going to use our resources to our benefit. And it'll be clean and environmentally perfect so that Americans can manufacture everything that we need, the resources we have right here. American soil, it's got everything. It's got the rare earth, it's got the oil, it's got the gas. We have everything. The only thing we don't have is smart people leading our country. Thank you very much. We're sitting on trillions and trillions of dollars under our feet, and let's use that to make America rich again. Is that okay? We'll pay off the debt. We'll reduce your taxes. It'll be a beautiful thing. You'll never have this. It'll be a renaissance. It'll be a golden period. It'll be a beautiful period. Finally, to exploit these pro-manufacturing policies, their full potential is going to happen. It's going to happen very quickly. I will appoint a manufacturing ambassador whose sole task, and it'll be a great one, will be to go around the world and convince major manufacturers to pack up and move back to America where they want to be. They want to be. For years, we watched other countries steal our jobs. Now we are going to be going after their jobs and bringing them back to America where they belong and where, frankly, they want to be. They want to be. If Kamala Harris gets 4 more years, she will deindustrialize the United States and destroy our country. We will become virtually a banana republic. We will be destroyed. Their plans are horrible. And if they wanted their plans, again, I say it all the time. I said it during the debate, where, by the way, we absolutely destroyed her, except for the fakers on a microphone. Oh, she did very well tonight. She did very well. She did very well. She couldn't put two sentences together. Take a look at her answers. And it was 3-on-1.
Ladies and gentlemen, double tap your screen, subscribe to the channel. We are currently listening to the 45th President of the United States. Some people say he might be the 47th. Let me know what you think. Also, are you better off now than you were 4 or 5 years ago? Are you better off now than you were 4 or 5 years ago? Let me know, man. Put it in the chat. Let's go.
ABC ought to be ashamed. It was 3-on-1. And actually, it's also interesting because after that horrible situation, because it's the fake news all over again. Fake news, you got a lot of them back here, by the way. But it's the fake news. But you know what? My numbers, look at the numbers today. The numbers are higher than they've ever been. We've never had numbers this good. So something happened that was pretty good. But it was interesting. I couldn't believe, I thought she was so bad. I came off that stage, I said, she was so bad. You know, one of the things, he's the GOAT of debates. I said, is that a good thing or a bad thing? They said, greatest of all time, 21 debates. And I thought that was one of my best debates. But, you know, after they spin better than anybody. Well, I don't know if I thought he did too well tonight. And wasn't she really terrific? She didn't say anything, except lies like a bloodbath, like Charlottetown. She lied. And you know what I say, just in finishing this topic? Because they'll say, oh, he fell into a trap. He talked about, you know, when somebody says something bad about you, if you then, nobody else, this only happens to me, if I then refute them, Marjorie, if I say, that's not true, and just give a few seconds and people understand it, they say, he fell into a trap. No, if they say bad about me, I got to refute it. I do it quickly, but I refute it. As soon as I refute, oh, he fell into a trap. Why would I let her say something bad about me and let it stand out there? If I don't refute it, people are going to think it's true. These people are the worst. These people are the worst. But it's been amazing what's been happening, and they're hearing what we're doing policy-wise, military-wise, border-wise, maybe especially border. You know, in 2016, I won on the border, and we fixed the border very quickly, and I was very proud of it. After that, nobody wanted me to talk about the border. They said, sir, it's been fixed. You know, I said, I want to talk about the border. They wouldn't let me, even though we got 12 million more votes in the following in 2020. We got 12. But listen, there is more enthusiasm now than there ever was for 2016 or for 2020 because of how bad they are. Because of how good a job we did and how bad they are. Under Kamala, there will be no car industry, no steel industry, no significant manufacturing of any kind, and we will be at risk of military defeat. You know that, right? A very simple fact is this. If you don't have steel, you don't have a military. And I'm not going to allow, and I said it before and I'll say it again, and I got along with a great gentleman, Shinzo Abe from Japan. He was assassinated. He was a great gentleman. But I said, Shinzo, we have to change our trade deal. And he said to me, I knew you were going to come with that. I said, well, why did you know? He said, for 25 years, no American has said that to us. They got away with murder, and we changed the deal. And the deal we now have is really good, but the deal we're going to have is going to be beyond belief with every, not just with Japan, with every company and every, frankly, with their companies and with their nations. I'm not going to allow Japan to buy U.S. steel. I'm not going to let it happen. 70 years ago, again, the greatest company on earth. Vote for Trump, and you will see a mass exodus of manufacturing from China to Pennsylvania, from Korea to North Carolina, from Germany to right here in Georgia. They're going to come to Georgia from Germany and lots of other places. And no matter where I go, and I go to a lot of places, we're definitely outworking the opposition. She'll go to one place in 3 days. I say, why can't I do that? Yesterday I was in Pennsylvania. I made 5 stops. 5 stops, 3 speeches. People say, how do you do it, sir? Then I said, where am I going tomorrow, sir? You're going to Savannah. Oh, what time are we leaving? 8 o'clock in the morning. Oh, great. I got home. You get home at 11, 12, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. When am I going tomorrow? I'm going to Savannah, Georgia. Well, I love you, but I wouldn't mind leaving at 11 or 12 or 1. I'd be just as happy to be on. Sir, we're leaving. Sir, we're leaving at 9 o'clock. We're leaving at 8 o'clock. But it's okay. It's okay. It's worth it. But look, the way I look at it, we have no choice. If we don't win this election, we don't have a country anymore. So we're going to work our asses off. We're going to work our asses off. We will bring back the American dream bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. It's going to happen. We're pleased to be joined today by former Senator David Perdue, who is really working hard on the campaign. David, where is David? Where is he? See? He's such a nice guy. He didn't even want to stand up. He just wants to get the job done. That's what you do. You're a great guy, David. I appreciate it. Everyone's telling me you're working so hard. I said, where's David? He's working. He's working. And he's working on the campaign. He wants to get it done. We have another great gentleman, a really fine guy, a fantastic political person, Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones. Burt, stand up, Burt. And his incredible father is here. Good genetics in that family. Thank you very much. It's a great honor to have you. Representatives, and these are warriors, Buddy Carter. Buddy. Warrior. Great guy. And a very shy, quiet person, doesn't like mixing it up too much. But she is really highly respected in Washington, and she's fantastic. Marjorie Taylor Greene. And, of course, a woman that we all love, and especially we love her in Georgia, Alveda King. Thank you very much, Alveda, for being here. And I also want to thank Governor Kemp. He's been fantastic. He really has been fantastic, and we're going to get this done. But I want to thank Governor Kemp for his support, great support. Starting on day 1, I will seal the border and stop the migrant invasion of our country. After almost 4 years, border czar Kamala Harris has decided for political reasons that it's time for her to go to the border. Finally, she's gone to the border 4 years. What a disgrace that is, that she waited so long, allowing millions and millions of people to enter our country from prisons and jails, mental institutions and insane asylums, and criminal cells all over the world, not just from South America, but many of them are terrorists, and they are coming from Africa. They're coming from the Congo, large numbers from the Congo. They're coming from the Middle East. They're coming from Asia. They're coming from South America, but not only South America. They're coming from all over the world. It's really just what they're doing to the fabric, to the guts of our country. It's not even believable. And you see what's going on. You see what's going on. They're taking over towns and cities, and they're taking them over with weapons. They're taking them over with weapons that are military-quality weapons. Where the hell are they getting the weapons? But she's trying to con the public that she did a good job at the border. She's actually saying, no, I did a good job at the border. Remember, you know, when she says we're working on the border, she still has airplanes flying in loaded up with migrants over the border. She thought she wouldn't get caught. It took them about 2 years to figure that one out. It was a little strange. Brand new, beautiful, large Boeing jets are landing in airports all over our country, and migrants are getting out. It took a little while to figure that one out. So they talk about the border, but they have planes to this day flying in, loaded up, hundreds of thousands of people being flown into all parts of our country, destroying our country. And she's destroyed the very fabric of our nation, allowing 21 million people to come in at least into our country. And think of it, totally unvetted, from places unknown, no checks, no names, no nothing, just come on in. But they do. They come from prisons and they come from mental institutions. It's a terrible thing. And many, many terrorists at levels that nobody's ever seen before. You know, during my 4 years, I saw the other day, they had 1 year where they had zero. I don't believe that. This was done by Border Patrol. Oh, you know, I have you know my all-time favorite chart in history, right? I have a chart that's my all-time favorite. I love that. Is it around? Is it around? I love that chart. I sleep with that chart every night. I kiss it. I love it. Because that chart saved my life. I look to the right, bing. If I didn't look to the right, I wouldn't be here with you today, I guarantee you that. And it was amazing because that chart is seldom used, because I don't like to brag. It's seldom used. But when it is used, it's always on my left. It's always on my left, and it's always at the end of the speech. And I do a lot of things without a teleprompter. Isn't it nice, by the way, to have a president that doesn't need a teleprompter? Isn't it nice? Because a lot of, I don't often use a teleprompter, because if you use a teleprompter, it gets very boring. You know, if I read every single word, I could go right down, and you'd be in and out of here in 35 minutes. You say, that was pretty boring, wasn't it? Even with the good numbers that we're putting up, that would be boring. This chart is the greatest thing ever. I said, let me see the chart, bring it down. That was a lucky one, but maybe not lucky, maybe right up there. Maybe not lucky. Maybe, I think, my two sons are great shooters, and they said, Dad, from 130 yards, a bad shooter couldn't miss with that gun, AR-15. And we lost a great, as you know, great fireman and two other people we thought we lost, but the doctors were phenomenal. The local doctors, they were sort of country doctors. They were phenomenal. They saved them. They're okay. And you know the nice part? A friend of mine came up to me and said, the firefighter, Corey, great guy, beautiful family, beautiful wife, daughters. He jumped on top of his daughters and he got hit right in the head. Right. But you know, I don't know if I've said this publicly, but you know, a friend of mine came, a member of Mar-a-Lago came up to me. He said, I'd like to give the family, and this is not a family with a good life in a safe community. There's no crime. There's no muggings. There's no pushing people into subways. There's no anything. It's a nice community. And Butler. And a friend of mine came up and he said, I'd love to give the family of the fireman a check for something. I said, good. I think it would be great. How much? He said, I don't know. And he handed me a check, signed it, $1 million. I said, wow. And then, and you know, when it was presented to this incredible wife of Corey, really incredible, devastated by what happened. He was a big fan. He was a big Trump guy. He had everything. They all were, all three, but the crowd was as far as they said 55,000 people, as far as the eye could see, and nobody left. You know, when those bullets went off, like if it happens at a soccer game, they hear a bullet, everyone, they call it a stampede, like cattle. It's a stampede, and people are killed. Many people are killed. These bullets went off, but not one. There were a lot of them, 8, 9, and they went off. Secret Service shooter was unbelievable. The local police, actually, they did a great job in terms of the shooting. He may have also hit this lunatic, but think of it. So we gave her the check. She's never seen anything like it. They live a very nice life, but no money, no money. And now she has $1 million. I said, that's only the beginning, because we did a GoFundMe, and they raised about $6 million. And so The other two men that got hit were really hit hard. They were not going to make it. First question I ask is, how many people were killed? Because with so many people, no matter where a bullet goes, going to hit somebody. They said 3 are probably dead. Well, the 2 were taken immediately to the hospital. The doctors were great. I was taken to a hospital. The doctor was, the whole hospital was fantastic. I mean, just so professional, so good. He looked at me, he said, "You are the luckiest man." I said, "No, maybe it's something else." But he couldn't believe it. The doctor said, "You know, sir, this would be a good day for you to go to the lottery and buy a nice ticket." Because what happened here, I've never said anything like that. But, you know, look, some very good things happen. You know the nicest thing when people say, it was God, and God came down and he saved you because he wants you to bring America back. So many people say that. So many people say that. I hope that's true. I hope that's true. Thank you. And then I had a little more of God's help about 2 months later. You saw that, where a brilliant Secret Service agent, that's all you can say. You know, a lot of people, when they walk down grass, beautiful flowers, very thick shrubs, everything beautiful, they could say, "Oh, what beautiful, oh, isn't the sky nice?" He wasn't looking at the sky. This guy was no games, and he was walking down the middle of that fairway, and he's looking over. And what does he see? He sees a rifle, just a small part of a very big weapon. And he sees a small part of a rifle, the barrel, coming out of very heavy shrubbery. Who's going to see that? Not a lot of people. And he didn't say, "Who's over there, please? May we talk?" No, he took his gun and he started shooting him. And the guy dropped his... So think of that. That's, you know, that's... Nothing's in the category where I have to turn to right. You have about 1/8 of a second where you're safe. But I'm telling you, that's... God was watching there, too. Because you needed somebody really sharp. I give Secret Service a hell of a lot of credit. These are, you know, look, they've been hit hard because of Butler, because, you know, the building should have been taken care of, and they understand that. But when I went down, I had 4, 5, 6 people right on top of me, and there were bullets flying right over our heads. A lot of bullets were flying right over our head. They were not sitting back and taking a pass. They were not saying, "Well, gee, I'm not going to go over that. That's dangerous stuff." They were on top of me in seconds, and you got to give them a lot of credit. But here you have to give them credit, too, because this agent, I would have been in that location within 10 minutes, right? And right next to the guy, practically. And this guy spotted, shot. But how about this? He then ran. There's a fence in between, cyclone fence. And he then ran across the street, down the block to get his car. Only a woman could do this because men aren't smart enough, I'll tell you. And a woman, pretty busy road, Congress it's called, and pretty busy. But she didn't like the way he looked. Now, I see people running all the time. I don't like the way they look. But I don't follow them. She didn't like the way he looked. He looked very suspicious. He was running like wild because he had to get away from the Secret Service. And his car was about a block away. She followed him, stopped right behind his car, and started taking pictures of his license plate. Who would do that? Who would do that? And I asked our great sheriffs in Palm Beach, I said, "So if this happened 1,000 times, how many times would somebody follow somebody and take pictures of the license plate?" He said, "Maybe none." That's right. I mean, that's luck too, or something. But this woman is incredible. And once they had the license plate, they had him in a high-speed chase down the highway. But once they had the license plate, it was over. If they didn't have the license plate, he would still be out there. I wouldn't be very comfortable. I would say, "I wonder if he's in this audience." I'd say, "Where is this lunatic?" But this woman was, what she did was amazing. So I've had a very interesting experience for the last couple of months. My profession is a very dangerous one. If you think of it, it's far more dangerous than auto races. 0.1% of the auto races die. 0.1% and a little more of the bull riders, that looks nasty, doesn't it? Die. Presidents, I don't want to tell you the percentage, but it happens to be a very dangerous profession. But you know, the only thing I can say is they only go after consequential presidents. That's true. They only go after consequential presidents. So we are consequential. We're going to be even more consequential because we're going to do things that nobody has ever been able to do in this country. When Kamala is seen at the border on Friday, she will pass hundreds of miles of wall that was built by Trump, and it's wall that really works. And that's why we have, if you look at the arrow on the bottom, the red arrow on the bottom, that was the week I left office. That's the lowest level of illegal immigration in the recorded history of our country. Look at that. Oh, every time I love it, I just go crazy. I love it. But that's the lowest level of illegal immigration. And that includes drugs, and it includes lots of other things. You know, drugs are now coming through our border at about 10 times. We talk about the illegal migrants, but the drugs are pouring through. Fentanyl is pouring through. I had it down to the lowest level, and I had to deal with President Xi in China that he was giving the death penalty. He was going to give the death penalty to anybody, because that's their penalty over there. That's why they have no drug problem. They have the death penalty for drug dealers. He was going to put this category, those that make fentanyl and ship it to the United States was going to get the death penalty. And I told him, if you don't do that, we're not going to do trading with China. We're going to go cold turkey. We're not trading, and we're going to put tariffs on anything that gets through, big ones. And he agreed to do it. And then Biden, of course, dropped the ball, just like he dropped the ball on Israel with Iran. Iran was ready to make a deal. They would have made a deal in 2 minutes, and now they had no money. They had no money. And now they have $300 billion. They made it all in 3.5 years. What a shame. What opportunity has been wasted. When Kamala speaks, be advised, and we have to tell, this woman has allowed record numbers of people into our country. They're from all over the world. They're now creating criminal havoc throughout the country. Aurora, Colorado, you saw that, where Venezuelan gangs are taking over real estate. They become real estate developers. How nice? No, they're taking over real estate, and they have weapons that even our military hasn't seen. Who's giving them these weapons? But Aurora is a mess. The governor is a mess. You know, the governor is a Democrat, and he's a radical left Democrat, and he's not too popular right now because they're going to take over a lot more than Aurora. They're going to go through Colorado, take over the whole damn state by the time they finish. Unless I become president, they won't last long. And in Springfield, Ohio, so you have a town of 50,000 people. They have 32,000 migrants put into the town almost overnight. And the people are so nice. You know, they want to be nice. They say, well,
The mayor is actually looking for interpreters. He's looking all over for interpreters because they can't understand. The language is totally different. What the hell? I'm sorry. You have to move the people back to the country from which they came. You have to. You have to.
Every state is a border state now. When she speaks, I hope everybody remembers that she has caused our cities, our towns, and our country itself tremendous damage.
Thank you for tuning in one more time. You know what time it is. Double tap your screen. Subscribe to the channel. We are currently listening to the legend, the OG, the 45th President of the United States. Some people say he might be the 47th. What do you think? What do you think? You think it might be the 47th? All right, let's keep listening to the legend.
Our country is dying. Our country is dying. We're taking all the criminals from all over the world. You know, the crime rates for countries all over the world is way down because they've taken the citizens of their countries have demanded it. They're taking the criminals out and they're moving them and dumping them into the United States of America, and their crime rates are cut in half and less than that. And their jails, which were packed, in many cases are close to empty and very soon will be totally empty because they've taken their prisoners and they've dumped them into the United States of America. We're like a dumping ground, and we're not going to allow it. We're bringing them back.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time. You are listening to the 45th. Some people say he might be the 47th. And some people in the chat are saying it's sickening for them to hear that I am supporting Donald Trump. I mean, why would you say it's sickening for you to see me support Donald Trump? Why is it because I am an African American, or is it because I am an immigrant, or is it because I am not supposed to be supporting him? What makes you say it's sickening for you to see me support him? Who am I supposed to be supporting? Kamala? Like, what makes you think I mean, I don't get it, guys.
We're bringing them back. And by the way, you know, this is a speech on economic development, but this is a big part of economic development. We can't have factories being built where you have criminals walking down the street with the worst weapons that you've ever seen, with machine guns and everything else. We can't have it. We have to have a safe country, because if you don't have a safe country, everything I talk.
And somebody just said how many African Americans supports Donald Trump. I don't care who supports Donald Trump or not. I am an adult that has the freedom to support whoever I want to support. If African Americans support him, fine. If they don't, fine. You can support Kamala. As a matter of fact, you should. Just like I give you the freedom to support Kamala, I have the freedom to support the OG, legendary, 45th, maybe 47th. Do what you want to do. As long as you participate and you exercise your right and you vote, that's the most important thing. Do what you want to do. But don't tell another grown man what you think they should be supporting. That's what women are saying. Don't tell us what to do with our bodies. It's the same thing for an adults like me. Don't tell me what to do with my vote. Do what you want to do, bro. Hey.
Talk about today, you can reduce very substantially. So number one, we're going to make America safe, because we have to have a safe country or nobody's going to want to come here. And with her, she doesn't know what the word safe is. You know, she was the head of Defund the Police. Anybody that heads up Defund the Police is not qualified to be a president of the United States. And anybody that lies, like she lies about everything. She changed 15 policies. Now, I've watched politics for a long time. I've been involved on the other side for a long time with helping people out. But I've watched for a long time, and I've seen people change one or two policies. But I've never seen people change 15 policies. She wants to confiscate your gun. Now she said, oh, I won't do that. She wants to have.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's a guy in the chat. His name is Daniel. He said, you should vote for Kamala Harris. Fine if you vote for Kamala Harris. Wonderful. But don't tell me who to vote for, bro. I am voting for the OG, the legendary. Because why? Low gas prices, low grocery prices, low inflation, safer border. There wasn't Ukraine and Russia, so we didn't have to send billions of munitions to Ukraine. There wasn't Israeli and the Palestinian people. First Step Act, opportunity zones, HBCU funding. Bro, relax. Abraham's Accord. Man, it's a long list. I can't even say it, man. Dang.
No fracking. She's 100 times no fracking. There will be no fracking in Pennsylvania, right? No fracking. Now she's saying, oh, I'd love to have fracking. But, you know, they always go back to where they were. They always go back because that's it. She's a Marxist philosophy. Her father is a Marxist philosopher, and he taught her well. And that's what you got, and you can't have that. Our country is not ready for this and hopefully never will be. Kamala's, remember one other thing, and I think it's terrible. She lied about McDonald's. She said, I was a worker in McDonald's. And I stood over the French fries. I'm going to a McDonald's over the next 2 weeks. And I'm going to stand over the French fries because I want to see what her job really wasn't like because she never. I stood over the French fries, and that was tough. It was hot outside, and it was hot over. She never worked there. It was a lie. And when I asked her at the debate, I said, I want to talk about this. ABC said, you know, ABC.
Bro, this man is wild, bro. He's about to go to McDonald's going like, making him fries in a McDonald's. And also, nobody is saying anything about the McDonald's story. Did she actually work in McDonald's? Yeah, we gonna have to really go find out because nobody's saying anything about the McDonald's story anymore.
Which is the worst of them all, by the way. Did you see that David Muir's ratings are way down? I love that. Because he lost his credibility. I love it. Kamala's illegals are also crushing your wages and stealing your jobs. Last month alone, think of this, American-born workers lost 1.3 million jobs and migrants gained 635,000 jobs. So we're putting our migrants to work at a much higher level than our own people, our own citizens. So as we create millions of new manufacturing jobs here in Georgia and nationwide, we will make sure that these jobs go to American citizens, not illegal citizens, people that came into our country illegally. Your wages will rise, your costs will fall, your job opportunities will grow because we will conduct the largest deportation operation, sadly, in American history. We have no choice. This is not sustainable. And we got to get the criminals out first. We're going to get the criminals, the murderers, the drug dealers. We're going to get them out of here first. And we're going to work with local police. They know everything about them. They know their names. They know their serial numbers. They know everything. Our local police are phenomenal. We just have to let them do their job. And starting on day one, we will end inflation and make America affordable again. We will have, ready? No tax on tips. No tax on overtime. And for our seniors who have been devastated by this Harris-Biden inflation that was so unnecessary, caused by energy, they let energy go through the roof. It caused it. And Aurora, they're going to go through Colorado that was ready to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, according to the 45th. Some people say he might be the 47th. What do you think about that? I mean, if you work 40 hours a week and then you have to do overtime because, you know, of course, the times are hard right now. Some people are finding it hard to pay, you know, for groceries, pay for rent. Most people are living paycheck to paycheck. I get it. So now you have to do overtime. And now, if he gets in, no tax on overtime. Yesterday, I took my daughter and my wife to Mellow Mushroom. Is it Mellow Mushroom? What you call it? Uh, man, what you call the restaurant? Mellow, yeah, Mellow Mushroom, right? And I gave it. I left a tip, and I'm like, no tax on tip, bro. That shit felt good. No tax on tip, bro. Yeah, let's get it.
All of a sudden, how about her? She comes out a couple of weeks ago, months after I did, but there will be no tax on tips. But that's it. Nothing ever happened. Nothing ever happens with her because if it did happen, she would have done it 3.5 years ago. That's what I say. And to finish, she lied about McDonald's. She lied. And she lied about almost everything else. And she doesn't understand a question and she can't give an answer. If you watch Oprah, I knew Oprah very well. She loved me before politics. She was down at Mar-a-Lago. Donald, this is the most beautiful place I've ever seen. Can we have the funeral of Roger King? He was King World, great guy, great guy. Could we have the funeral at Mar-a-Lago? Yes, Oprah, you can. We had his funeral. He's the most important guy and one of the most important people in her life. She was the one that worked it out. But she was there a lot. She loved the key lime pie. I love that key lime pie. But once I ran for politics, it's like, I don't like that guy very much. No, I gave up a lot, but I don't mind giving it up because we're going to make our country greater than ever before. And while working Americans catch up, we're going to put a temporary cap on credit card interest rates at 10%. We have no choice. They're getting 22, 25%. We can't let people have to pay 25% and 22% interest because they can't afford to pay off their credit card. We're going to cap it for a period of time at 10%. We will terminate the Green New scam and spend the trillions and trillions.
And the credit card situation, most of us have credit card debt. I have credit card debt. I ain't even gonna cap. I got credit card debt. So, capping the interest rate at 10%, jeez, that's like gonna be absolutely
Yours
wonderful.
ratings are way down. I love
Sure, because I mean, if you think about it, right now it's like 28%. Some interest rate are like 30%. I have one that's like 18%. I have another one that's like 22%. So it's like, man, I mean, you got to pay your rent, you got to buy groceries. So with the low or interest rate capping, that would be like absolutely wonderful. Until further notice, man. We need everything we can get right now. We need a break. We need a break, bro. We need the break.
that because he lost his credibility. I love it. Kamala's illegals are also crushing your wages and stealing your jobs. Last month alone, think of this, American-born workers lost 1.3 million jobs and migrants gained 635,000 jobs. So we're putting our migrants to work at a much higher level than our own people, our own citizens. So as we create millions of new manufacturing jobs here in Georgia and nationwide, we will make sure that these jobs go to American citizens, not illegal citizens, people that came into our country illegally. Your wages will rise, your costs will fall, your job opportunities will grow, because we will conduct the largest deportation operation, sadly, in American history. We have no choice. This is not sustainable. And we got to get the criminals out first. We're going to get the criminals, the murderers, the drug dealers. We're going to get them out of here first. And we're going to work with local police. They know everything about them. They know their names. They know their serial numbers. They know everything. Our local police are phenomenal. We just have to let them do their job. And starting on day one, we will end inflation and make America affordable again. We will have, ready? No tax on tips. No tax on overtime. And for our seniors who have been devastated by this Harris-Biden inflation that was so unnecessary, caused by energy, they let energy go through the roof. It caused it. And also their spending, but I say even more by energy. We're going to have this for our seniors. No tax on Social Security. They deserve it. They deserve it, what they've had to put up with. You know, the people with the tips, they're being tormented by this administration, too. They passed new legislation and have other legislation that was ready to go all of a sudden. How about her? She comes out a couple of weeks ago, months after I did, but there will be no tax on tips. But that's it. Nothing ever happened. Nothing ever happens with her. Because if it did happen, she would have done it 3.5 years ago. That's what I say. And to finish, she lied about McDonald's. She lied. And she lied about almost everything else. and she doesn't understand a question and she can't give an answer. If you watch Oprah, I knew Oprah very well. She loved me before politics. She was down at Mar-a-Lago. Donald, this is the most beautiful place I've ever seen. Can we have the funeral of Roger King? He was King World, great guy, great guy. Could we have the funeral at Mar-a-Lago? Yes, Oprah, you can. We had his funeral. He's the most important guy and one of the most important people in her life. She was the one that worked it out. She was there a lot. She loved the key lime pie. I love that key lime pie. But once I ran for politics, it's like, I don't like that guy very much. No, I gave up a lot, but I don't mind giving it up because we're going to make our country greater than ever before. And while...
But wait, why is it that before this man ran for president, every major player in the African American community actually liked Donald Trump? Why? Everybody wanted to have it at their party, in their movies. Whoopi Goldberg stared in a movie with Donald Trump, and Donald Trump said it on The View, and he said he did it for free. Oprah invited him over to her last run on television show. He was like the total definition of the American dream. Everybody liked this guy. The rappers liked him. Everybody liked him. Now he is running for the presidential election. Now nobody likes him anymore.
Working Americans catch up. We're going to put a temporary cap on credit card interest rates at 10%. We have no choice. They're getting 22, 25%. We can't let people have to pay 25% and 22% interest because they can't afford to pay off their credit card. We're going to cap it for a period of time at 10%. We will terminate the Green New Scam and spend the trillions and trillions of dollars of unspent dollars on roads, bridges, real infrastructure, and paying down debt, not fake infrastructure that has caused massive inflation, along with the energy. That bill was just a disaster, just trillions of dollars. That's what caused all of the inflation, those two things. I will settle the war in Ukraine, and I will end the chaos in the Middle East, and I will prevent something that nobody else will be able to do. I will prevent World War III, and you are very close to World War III. Biden and Kamala got us into this war in Ukraine, and now they can't get us out. They can't get us out. I watched him. We will win. We will. He's been saying that for 3 years. Every time Zelensky comes to the United States, he walks away with $100 billion. I think he's the greatest salesman on earth. But we're stuck in that war unless I'm president. I'll get it done. I'll get it negotiated. I'll get out. We got to get out. Biden says, we will not leave until we win. What happens if they win? That's what they do, is they fight wars. As somebody told me the other day, they beat Hitler, they beat Napoleon. That's what they do, they fight. And it's not pleasant, but, you know, we've given them close to $300 billion. And you know what Europe has given them? Which is approximately our size when you add up the countries together, their economy, it's very close to our size. They've given them like a small fraction of that number, just a small, very small fraction. And we have an ocean separating. It's much more important for... Now, why aren't they? You know why they are? Because Biden has never even asked them. I guarantee you. Do you think Biden lies awake at night thinking, how are we going to get Europe to pay? No, he goes to sleep. Here's a guy can sleep on the beach. How do you sleep on the beach when you have cameras on? I will never sleep on the beach in front of live television, I promise. No, the other day he was out cold. I said, is he sleeping? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's a great thing. If you're able to sleep with live television going, somebody told him he looks great in a bathing suit. You know, when you're 82, it's never too pretty. And I love 82-year-olds, but when you're 82 in a bathing suit, I don't know, you know? But he actually was, he was stone cold out. You got to give him credit, though, because anybody that can do that, I find it very hard to sleep. I get so many ideas. I'm thinking all the time. This guy just goes out, lies down, goes out, pictures of him. It's pretty sad when you think about it, right? We laugh, but it's sad. And nobody told us he was cognitively impaired. She didn't say it. She didn't say it. And that puts our country at great danger because President Xi is at the top of his game. All of these guys that we're competing against are all at the top of their game. He's not. He hasn't been for a long time. And that puts us at great risk and great danger. We will rebuild our cities, including Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. And we will keep the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. Because it's under tremendous siege right now. And if we lose that, then we are indeed a third world country. We cannot allow that to happen. We have so many enemies now. We have so many people. I had no wars other than ISIS, which I inherited, and I finished off ISIS in 4 weeks instead of 5 years.
One more time, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? Sincerely, put it in the chat. Double tap your screen, subscribe to the channel. We are currently listening to the 45th President of the United States. Some people say he might be the 47th. What do you think? Let's get it.
Years that they thought, because we have a great military that I rebuilt. I rebuilt our military. Sadly, $85 billion of it went to Afghanistan. Can you believe that? Should have never happened. You take the soldiers out last. You don't take the soldiers out first. Took the soldiers out, and then after they took the soldiers out, the Taliban had a field day. What a horrible thing. We lost 13 great soldiers, many wounded so horribly, the legs, the arms, the face obliterated so badly. Nobody ever talks about them. They talk about those that were killed, and I love those families. I know the families. They've never even called the families, but they were 13 killed, great people. But we also left behind billions and billions of dollars worth of the best military equipment in the world. And now Afghanistan is one of the largest sellers of military equipment. 777,000 rifles and guns, 71,000 vehicles, many of them armor-plated. But you have to see goggles and planes and tanks. What the stupidity of these people. We have to get back to a country again. We have to be respected. They laugh at us all over the world. They're laughing at us. And you know what they're really laughing at? Kamala, because they can't.
Someone in the chat just said they are broke until the 1st. This is what is going on, guys. This is what is going on. We need a break. We need a break. Come on, man. We need the OG back. I don't care what nobody says. We need the OG back, dog. We need the OG back. Yeah.
Believe that she's going to be president. They can't believe. You talk about cognitive problems. She's got bigger cognitive problems than he has, in my opinion. This is how we're going to end the era of inflation and mayhem, misery. Under Kamala and Crooked Joe, we had such misery. Think about what we've been through with the inflation, with the wars all over the world. Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orban, strong man, really a great leader, didn't allow anybody into his country. He said, no, I don't want people blowing up our shopping centers. I don't want people killing our people. But he said, when he was asked recently, a couple of times, just recently, he said it numerous times, they said, why is the world blowing up? The Middle East is blowing up. Russia looks like it's going to end up in a World War III. All of these problems are happening. They weren't here. He said, it's one simple reason.
Think about it. We are already living paycheck to paycheck. Now the grocery prices high, gas prices is high, insurance high, energy high, rent high. Wages are still the same. What? Come on, man. We need a break. Man, we need a break. I don't even care no more. Yeah, we need a break, bro.
Donald Trump isn't president. You make Donald Trump president of the United States. Nobody understood him. Everybody was afraid of him. They feared Donald Trump. I don't want to be the one. He said it. I didn't say it because it sounds sort of, but he said it. He said they feared. China feared him. Russia feared him. They all feared him. We had no problems. Russia was never going into Ukraine, and they didn't. For 4 years, they didn't. When I left, they just went in. It was the apple of his eye. I know him very well. Had a good relationship with him, especially since the hoax created by Hillary and Shifty Adam Schiff and all these people, these lowlifes. But, and you know the danger, by the way, you know the danger that that kind of stuff causes our country? Tremendous risk. I mean, fortunately, it worked out fine, but there's tremendous risk when you start doing that crap, all made up stuff, made up stories of fantasy land. We will unleash safety, prosperity, and peace for Americans of every race, religion, color, and creed. We're going to have prosperity the likes of which this country has never had. And together we will deliver low taxes, low regulations, really low energy costs. I am going to get the energy costs, forget about companies, it's going to happen for them too, same thing. We're going to get your energy bills reduced by more than 50% within the first 12 months of my administration. And I'm talking now house owners and renters and everybody. Your car, everything's going to go way down, and that's going to lead a wave of bringing some of these horrible prices down because interest rates are now, think of it, 10%. We had them at 2%. But low interest rates, low inflation, you're going to have all of this. You're going to get really low interest rates again because...
Yeah, OG, yeah. We need that energy cost to go down. We need it. We definitely need it, bro. Yeah, we need it, man. You need it. That's the first thing you need to do. As soon as you clock in, as soon as you clock in to that presidential seat, you need to straight on go ahead and do the energy. Make sure the energy costs go down, bro. That's what we need, OG.
When the energy goes down, the interest rates are going down too. It's honestly not that complicated. Not easy to do, but I know how to do it. And I did it once, and it was incredible. Just go back and compare your prices with what you're paying for things today with what you were paying 4 or 5 years ago. You won't even believe the difference. So that everyone can afford, I want to make sure that everybody can afford groceries, a car, and a home, the basics. I want to make sure that our young people can experience the potential, at least, of the American dream. We will stop the invasion. We will end migrant crime. We're going to support our great police. We're not going to be defunding our police. She'll go back to
the fact is 4 or 5 years ago, insurance wasn't this high. The energy cost was not this high. It wasn't. And you know the worst? The worst is mortgage rate, bro. You know what the mortgage rate is today compared to what the mortgage rate was in 2019? Man, OG, where you at? Pull up, OG.
Funding the police. Do you know I have the support of virtually every major police group in the United States? I just got the support from the Fraternal Order the other day. 400,000 police, but virtually every, I don't think she has one, I don't think, because she's horrible on crime and she's going to be horrible on crime. She's horrible on the border. She's horrible on business. She's bad on everything. Other than that, she's just fine. What a mess our country's in. And we're not going to have, you know, somebody said the other day, if she won, you literally may never have another election. This could be your last election. And, you know, I used to say it about Venezuela. Remember years ago, I'd say, Venezuela better be careful. And I'll tell you what, we better be careful because we'll end up being Venezuela on steroids. That's where we're headed. If this communist gets in to be president, if she's the president of our country, We're going to have problems the likes of which this country has never had. And once you have those problems, it never comes back. You don't see them coming back. They never come back. We're going to strengthen our military. I rebuilt our military, but now we have to strengthen it again. We're going to build a missile defense shield around our country. We need that protection, just like Israel has and just like some others have. And it's going to be made largely right here in the great state of Georgia. You do a lot of that.
Everybody, you are free to vote for whoever you want to vote for. The main thing is participate, exercise your right. However, why are you voting for who you're voting for? People voting for Trump. Why are you voting for Donald Trump? People voting for Kamala Harris. Why are you voting for Kamala Harris? Tell me why. We need to vote based on policies, based on performance. Man, double tap your screen and subscribe to the channel, man. Let's get it.
No, we want to have a shield, and we deserve a shield. And you have some lunatics out there that are not loving us too much, and we're not going to let it happen. We're going to build a shield. It's going to be all made in the USA. You know, when we build an airplane, and I changed a lot of it, some of those planes are made with parts from 21 different countries. Do you ever hear of anything so stupid? So in a war, we won't be able to get a part from various countries. We can't build the planes. And the steel, too. We need steel for our ships. We have to build great ships. We can't say to China, listen, we're in a war. I won't say with them because I don't want to give you any ideas. We're in a war. We need some steel. Can you send it to us? No, we're not going to send you any steel. What are we going to do? We have to have our steel. We have to have our steel plants. There are some things we cannot let others do. We're going to keep critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our school. And we're going to keep men out of women's sports. We will defend the Second Amendment, restore free speech, and we will secure our elections. They're going to be so secure. Everyone will prosper, every family will thrive, and every day will be filled with opportunity and hope. But for that to happen, we must defeat Comrade Kamala Harris, and we must stop her country-destroying. This is a country-destroying liberal agenda that we have to stop once and for all. We have to stop it. We cannot let this continue. So get everyone you know, get out and vote. We want a landslide that's too big to rig. Too big to rig. You know, at a certain point, they can't cheat. You know, when it's too big to rig, you know what that means? Pretty obvious, but we want to make it so it doesn't matter. Too big to rig, and I think we're getting close to that in Georgia right now.
Look, guys, we need to vote based on policies. We're not supposed to be voting based on emotions, based on feelings. I have had conversations with people, especially ladies, and they say, I'm voting for Kamala just because she's a woman. I'm voting for Kamala just because she's that. I'm like, so you have no policies. The only thing you're doing is voting based on emotions, based on policies. It's just like me saying I'm voting for Trump based on the fact that he is a man. I don't care. I just want to vote based on his performance. And we saw what he did the past when he was the 45th. You see what I mean? Like, we can't be voting based on emotions and feelings because your emotions and your feelings those things do not pay your bills. Okay? Actions do. Man.
With a lot of great help. A lot of great help. On November 5th, we will save our economy. It will go down as the most important day in the history of our country, far beyond our economy, because we're going to save our country. It will be the most important day, November 5th, in the history of our country. We will rescue our middle class. We will reclaim our sovereignty and restore our borders. We will put America first, and we will take back our country. Thank you. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
All right, Donald Trump wrapping up there in Savannah, Georgia. Speaking.
Shout out to everybody watching the live show. You know what time it is. Double tap your screen, subscribe to the channel. Somebody says, can you tell me what he has done before? I already told you, bro. Opportunity zones. I told you. Lower inflation, bro. Safer southern border, bro. You didn't have to worry about Ukraine and Russia, bro. You didn't even have to talk about the Israeli people or the Jewish people and the Palestinian people. You didn't have to talk about that. You didn't have to talk about that. HBCU funding. First Step Act. That's prison reform. He did that, bro. So many things we didn't have to talk about. Now we talk about things that we should not be talking about. Man, double tap your screen and subscribe to the channel, man. Let's go listen to what CNN talking about the polls.
6 weeks, 42 days. Election day is right around the corner. And in some states, voters are already headed to the polls. But Donald Trump is delivering some mixed messages about early voting, encouraging it in one breath and then pushing baseless conspiracies about doing so in another. Here's what he said last night in Pennsylvania.
Early voting begins in Pennsylvania over the next 2 weeks, and we need each and every one of you to go out. Just don't take anything for granted. We got to get out and vote, and you can start right away. You know that, right? Now we have this stupid stuff where you can vote 45 days early. I wonder what the hell happens during that 45. Let's move see these votes? We've got about 1 million votes in there. Let's move them. We're fixing the air conditioner in the room, right? No, it's terrible. What happened the last time was disgraceful, including right here. But we're not going to let it happen again. Too big to rig, right?
Now, there's nothing wrong with early voting, which is why Donald Trump's own campaign is trying to get their supporters to the polls right now. It is a deadlocked race. And to give you more on that, let's go right now to CNN's David Chalian, who is with me at the Magic Wall with our brand new numbers.
6 weeks to go, as you said, 42 days, and it doesn't get much closer than this, Dana. This is among likely voters.
Unbelievable.
No clear leader within the margin of error. Kamala Harris at 48% support. Donald Trump at 47% support among likely voters, according to this brand new poll by SSRS. Take a look here. Most important issue among likely voters, far and away, it's the economy. 41% say so. Protecting democracy is second at 21%. Immigration and abortion rights round out the double-digit support categories. And on issue number one, you mentioned Donald Trump going down to Georgia today. Take a look at Trump's advantage on the economy. 50% of likely voters say they trust him to handle the economy more than Harris. Only 39% of likely voters say so of Harris, again, on issue number one.
I mean, it is really stunning if you think about these numbers. 20% more of voters say that they are worried about the economy, and that's their number one issue more than anybody else. And look at his lead on this. So then that begs the question, David, why is it such a tight race?
Well, yes, exactly. Because Trump, first of all, has some real warning signs on some attributes like his temperament or his empathy and ability to convince voters he understands their needs. But also in the coalition piece of this, look at this gender gap, okay? Among likely voters, Kamala Harris has a 10-point advantage among female voters, 53% to 43%. Donald Trump has a 9-point advantage among male voters. So you see here, that is a 19-point gender gap between his support for men and her support for women. But Dana, drill down into independent voters, okay? Among likely independent voters, her advantage with female independents grows. It's a 15-point advantage, 51 to 36. And his advantage with independent male voters comes down a bit. So the gender gap increases to her advantage among the critical middle of the electorate, these likely independent voters. Take a look here. Also, we asked, views are so extreme that those views will threaten the country. 48% of likely voters say yes to Donald Trump, that his views are so extreme that they threaten the country. 35% say so of Kamala Harris. A chunk of these folks, Dana, actually are still voting for Donald Trump, even though they think his views are extreme and threaten the country. And here's one other benefit for Harris. You say, what's keeping it close? 43% of likely voters say that Harris has the trust factor of the American people to unite the country. Only 30% say that about Donald Trump.
What are the warning signs for Harris besides the economy, which you started with?
Yes, besides the economy, there are pieces of the coalition that are
This guy is just, I mean, I don't even know. I don't know. I just don't know where this is coming from, but we gonna trust him.
Harris has a 63 percentage point advantage. Now, that's huge. That's a big advantage, but it's not the 75-point advantage that Joe Biden had in the 2020 exit polls. Similar story here, even more so among Latino voters. In our poll, Harris has a 19 percentage point advantage among likely Latino voters in this poll, but Biden in 2020, according to the exit polls, had a 33-point advantage among Latinos. And we should note, while it is getting late now, people are voting, and this race is locking in to some extent, there are still persuadable voters here. So 86% tell us in our poll their mind is made up. And again, these are likely voters. 12% say they could change their mind, and only 2% of the people in this poll say they don't have a first choice of a presidential candidate. So it's about a 14 percentage range that could still be persuaded to support one candidate or the other, Dana.
So that's why there's so few persuadable voters. That's why you're seeing so much of the focus on getting at the people who already say that they support either candidate. David, really, really fascinating new polling. We have a lot to dig in with our three excellent journalists here. The Washington Post's Josh Dawsey, Lift Our Voices co-founder and journalist Gretchen Carlson, and CNN's Eva McKend. Josh, you talk to your sources in both camps all day, every day. What do you think they're going to take away from what David just reported?
Well, I think the numbers are consistent with what you see in other polls and a lot of the internal polling, right? If you talk to folks in Trump world, they think they're basically in the margin of error in most of the states. They see their numbers as a little bit better than the public polls, but they know that they're behind in some of these states. They certainly see a gender gap, as you delineated there. I think what they believe is that their gender gap with men is better, that they are going to do even better than that polling shows with men, with black men. I guess we will see if that's true or not, but that's what you hear from them a lot. I think the way they look at where the numbers are right now is they've had some missed opportunities. The month of August, by all accounts, was not his best month. The debate performance, I think most people who are honest in his world would say she did better. I think his speech went a little too long at the convention. But that it's a tied race and it's their race to lose still, and that he can still win. And that's optimism I hear from their orbit, even as you see Kamala Harris doing better in a lot of ways than Joe Biden was against him.
So you mentioned the gender gap. Gretchen, I want you to listen to what Donald Trump said yesterday in Indiana, Pennsylvania about women.
I always thought women liked me. I never thought I had a problem. But the fake news keeps saying women don't like me. I don't believe it. I am your protector. I want to be your protector. As president, I have to be your protector. I hope you don't make too much of it. I hope the fake news doesn't go, oh, he wants to be their protector. Well, I am. As president, I have to be your protector.
I am your protector.
Well, I think I'm going to offend Donald Trump in saying, as a woman, I don't need him to protect me. I'm fine on my own. And I think a lot of other women feel that way. I did think, though, that this was very interesting, because up until now, Donald Trump has fed up red meat to the base. Last night, I felt like that was a bit of an olive branch to independent women to say, suburban moms, independents, look at me, I'm here for you. He talked about the safety of women, the health of women. I mean, there's two women in Georgia who would argue against that based on what's happened to them with regard to abortion. And he's a little bit like the Handmaid's Tale to me, calling himself a protector of women. It makes you wonder what else is going to happen to women if Donald Trump is elected.
Now is journalist and co-founder of Lift.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. Double tap your screen, subscribe to the channel. Also, everybody, did you know that President Biden actually had a He actually addressed the United Nations today. It's like a final address, like a farewell address. If you watched the previous stream that I did today, I streamed that also. So if you want to watch that, you can go back and watch that part. I feel like that was it wasn't a bad farewell. It was an okay farewell. It wasn't all bad. It was a good farewell. Let's listen to Nancy Pelosi. How many of you guys are a fan of Nancy Pelosi? Know in the chat. If you are a fan of Nancy Pelosi, let's get it.
Our 2024 lead 42 days until Election Day. Voting has already started in some parts of the country. Vice President Kamala Harris is targeting the 7 battleground states with this TV ad.
I'll lower the cost of insulin and prescription drugs for everyone, and I will work to pass the first ever federal ban on price gouging on food. More than 100 million Americans will get a tax.
Of how exactly she would address the cost of living crisis, which has not always been the case in some of these more unscripted moments that we've heard from the candidate herself. In interviews with CNN's Dana Bash or the Philadelphia's Channel 6 or Oprah, Harris has been asked to outline some specific things she would do to help working people pay for things if elected. And each time she began, well, take a listen.
When I look at the aspirations, the goals, the ambitions of the American people, I think that people are ready for a new way forward. I grew up a middle-class kid. My mother raised my sister and me. She worked very hard. Yours is a story I hear around the country as I travel. And in terms of both rightly having the right to have aspirations and dreams and ambitions for your family.
In some cases, it has taken nearly 2 minutes before Vice President Harris actually arrives at describing her policies. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is here with us to discuss. Do you think she needs to be presenting more meat on the bones of, I get that she's from a middle-class family, it's great, and I get that she feels people's pains, great, but what about, like, here are the 5 things I'm going to do directly for you? Does she need to be doing more of that?
Well, she'll be doing some of that tomorrow once she'll put forth her economic plan. But people like to have a connection to whoever is running for office, that they share their experience, that they understand their lives. And I think that's what she is establishing. But I never give advice to presidential candidates. The wisdom that they have, the political astuteness that they have to become the presidential candidate says they know something about the market out there. But I do think that the one issue in terms of the cost of living, people want to hear something very specific. She is saying that in that ad, but also tomorrow in her economic plan. I have no complaint about how she is going forward.
Oh, not a complaint, but do you think that she needs to be mixing it up more, having a press conference, more town halls, just out and about more? Oprah's the queen, obviously, but that's not a tough interview sitting down with Oprah. Oprah's endorsed her. She spoke at the convention. Does she need to be doing more of that sort of thing?
She will make that decision in her campaign agenda and her plan. What we're going to do, though, is make sure that we own the ground to get out every vote to elect her, that the message that is shaped is non-menacing, that it's uniting, progressive and bold, but non-menacing, and that we have the resources, the 3 M's, the mobilization, message, money to get the job done. She will be herself. She will take it forward in the way that she has confidence to connect with the American people, show the empathy that she has. But make no mistake, I know her well, as you know. She is a person of, I know her personally, and she is a person of goodness, of deep faith, and that's why she cares so much about people and their well-being. Officially, I know her. Policy-wise, she has strength. Mm-hmm. She knows the issues. She knows the strategy. She's eloquent in her presentation.
Well, I know she has your vote, but it's neck and neck. It is. I've never seen an election this tight at this point. Usually
We get it. We get it. She might actually be a good person. I get it. People can be good people, but she's she's interviewing to be the next president of the United States. She's applying for a new job. You're going to have to come out here and tell us why things are this way. Tell us why the prices are high. You need to come out here and answer some questions, man. Come on, man.
Somebody has an edge at this point. That could change, but it's neck and neck. In the battlegrounds, it's neck and neck. So I do wonder, it seems like she's running kind of cautiously. And I wonder, does she need to take more risks?
Well, I would say, since you said, she has my vote, I wasn't speaking about myself, because that's one vote. I'm talking about, I was in 3 states last week, not counting California and Washington, where I began then. And the enthusiasm out there is great for her. Mm-hmm. But again, it takes us to a point, and we have to get those other votes. So no one is taking anything for granted. We assume nothing. You know the word assume, it makes an ass of you and me. Mm-hmm. And I keep reminding people, mobilize, get out every vote that is eligible to vote, and make sure they're counted as cast. Mm-hmm. Message, non-menacing, uniting, bringing people together, money. No wasted time, no underutilized resources, and no regrets the day after the election that we could have gotten out more votes.
I'm sure that you hear from progressive voters, Democratic voters who say, as I hear from them on social media, the media made such a big deal out of Joe Biden's alleged cognitive problems. Why don't they talk about Donald Trump's cognitive problems? Well, Donald Trump talked about that just a second ago, and I want to get your reaction. Let's run that clip.
They laugh at us all over the world. They're laughing at us. And you know what they're really laughing at? Kamala, because they can't believe that she's going to be president. They can't believe. You talk about cognitive problems? She's got bigger cognitive problems than he has, in my opinion.
Donald Trump saying that Kamala Harris has bigger cognitive problems than Joe Biden.
Why would you even cover that? This is a person who's not on the level. He is their nominee for president. He is incompetent. Let's not even talk about the silliness of it all and the weirdness of it all and the assault on women that it is. We're not going to talk issues. Incompetent. The only thing he did as president, when he had the majority, was to pass a bill that gave a tax cut that gave 83 of the benefits to the top 1%, adding $2 trillion to the national debt. The worst job creation record of anybody.
Now, Madame Pelosi, you're going to have to chill with that one. Man, Madame Pelosi now. Maximum respect, but you're going to have to chill with that one now. Come on now, that's cap.
President since Herbert Hoover.
Because of COVID, yes.
Well, it's not because of COVID. We put $3 trillion into the economy when he was president, working with and the Congress working together. We put $3 trillion into the economy. So don't blame it on. And what did he do with COVID? Denial and delay. Responsible for thousands and thousands of people dying. So if you're going to forgive his job record because of COVID, make sure you attribute many of those deaths to him as well.
Not forgiving anything, just noting the content.
Incompetent. Forget silly and crazy and crooked and all the rest. Incompetent.
Let me just say, why do I run that clip? I run that clip because that's the Republican presidential nominee, and I thought you might have a reaction to it. I'm about to run another clip, and this one is the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, and today he was asked whether he'd follow the regular order when it comes to the election certification process. If Kamala Harris beats Donald Trump in November, we don't actually have the clip. I'm just going to tell you what he said. He said, quote, if we have a free, fair, and safe election, we're going to follow the Constitution. What do you think of that, the caveat?
Why should there be a caveat? Why don't we just all agree? Whoever wins, we are for the peaceful transfer of power. He's trying again to wed himself to this fake conspiracy theory about the election. But you know what? We don't agonize, we organize. And we organize to make sure that Hakeem Jeffries has that gavel on January 6th. It's very essential, not only for the issues that we care about, our kitchen table issues, lowering the cost of prescription drugs, which we have done, lowering the cost of health care, which we have done, lowering the cost of child care, which we did, but we have to renew, lowering the cost of so many things, housing, as Kamala has put forth. That's all important. But our
Man, I don't know, man. I don't know. Well, we support free and fair situations, okay? We support peaceful transitions for sure. Okay. Double tap your screen, subscribe to the channel. Let me know, man. Let me know. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? That's the main thing, man. This is all long conversation. We just want to know what time it is in the economy. We just want low grocery prices. We just want low gas prices. Man, we just look, that's all we want. We want low energy, low insurance. We don't care about none of these political situations y'all are trying to rope us in.
democracy is very important. Hakeem Jeffries, now we are working, as we work to elect a Democratic president and vice president, to elect a Democratic Congress, to make sure that we can't have this a personal opinion when it's an absolute fact of numbers.
Are you worried?
The election.
Are you worried about what might happen when Congress meets in January 6, 2025, under House Speaker Johnson, if he is the Speaker? And I don't know what the results are going to be, but let's assume that he's still the Speaker. Are you worried?
Well, first of all, Hakeem will be Speaker. Second of all, if the Republicans win, they have their own fight on their hands, and that may be what he's campaigning for there. But the fact is that the government, the U.S. federal government, has declared that a national special security day. So there will be increased security around the Capitol at that time.
So the mob won't be in the room.
Well, nobody could ever foresee that the President of the United States, disrespecting the office that he held, would incite an insurrection in the Capitol, assaulting our Capitol, our symbol of democracy to the world, assaulting our Constitution, which called for the peaceful transfer of power, and assaulting the Congress of the United States violently, going after me with a bullet in my head and a noose for his own vice president, who would not follow his instruction to ignore the Constitution and not honor his oath to protect and defend the Constitution. The national anthem says, "Proof through the night that our flag is still there." You've heard me say that again and again. And this is our night. We have to prove.
Wait. I thought she said she was responsible for the security. She's not anymore?
To the night that our flag is still there. I'll give you another Baltimore phrase. Comes from horse racing. We're here. We're going to whip to the lead, and then we're going to whip the lead to victory. And we do not agonize. We organize.
You organize. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Democrat from San Francisco. Always a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Good to see you.
Man, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. Double tap your screen, subscribe to the channel. You know what time it is. Let's get it. Okay, so vote for whoever you want to vote for. Make sure you participate in the election. Do not sit this one out. So next year, you're not going to be saying, well, Be prepared. Exercise your right. Go out there, register, and vote. Okay? Vote. I don't care who you're voting for. Just vote. Now let's go see what Fox talking about.
The Democrat running for the White House, who President Biden put in charge of the border, has a huge polling and credibility problem on solving the border crisis. Vice President Kamala Harris, of course, and now her campaign is floating the idea of going to the border during a campaign stop in Arizona this week. She's been the Biden administration's person in charge. Yet her only visit there was in 2021. She went to El Paso, Texas. At the time, that was certainly not the epicenter. Had she gone to the Rio Grande sector, she would have seen a lot. She ought to try out Nogales, actually, if she's going to Arizona. Fentanyl continues to flow across the border, no matter what our Border Patrol is doing, and they are doing a mighty job. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris has been staying silent about her past promises to use White House power to unilaterally give 2 million Dreamers, undocumented, here illegally, the children of people who came here illegally. She wants to give all of them a path to citizenship. The campaign told Axios, quote, the vice president has fought for Dreamers throughout her career and is proud of the actions taken under her and President Biden to expand protections for them, including the executive action President Biden took this year, which she supported, end quote. Axios calls this another of her many policy reversals, flip-flop on the border. Here are some of her past positions. Watch closely. They're different.
I think there's no question that we've got to critically re-examine ICE and its role and the way that it is being administered and the work it is doing.
Let me just be very clear. We have to have a secure border, but I am in favor of saying that we're not going to treat people who are undocumented and cross the border as criminals. Let me be very clear. I'm not going to vote for a wall under any circumstances, and I do support border security, and if we want to talk about that, let's do that. He has decided to vilify immigrants and put his whole political strength around a vanity project called a wall.
Okay, did you catch it? Anybody coming across the border cannot be called illegal. Well, I hope she's not including gotaways and all those people who are trying to avoid the detection systems that they have down there and all of our people trying to catch them. Is everybody legal immediately? Let's hear what she's saying now.
We know our immigration system is broken, and we know what it takes to fix it. Comprehensive reform that includes strong border security and an earned pathway to citizenship. I refuse to play politics with our security, and here is my pledge to you. As president, I will bring back the bipartisan border security bill that he killed, and I will sign it into law. I believe there should be consequence. We have laws that have to be followed and enforced that address and deal with people who cross our border illegally.
Now, I mentioned the polling and the lack of credibility on this issue. Tammy Bruce is now with me, Fox News contributor. I am going to, Tammy, ask our team to put up those numbers on where the polling is right now in America, because I think it's worth showing that part of the response, should she go to the border later this week in Arizona, part of that response has to be coming, and there it is. The only thing that beats it is something that's hurting everybody too, high prices under this administration. A third of voters surveyed said that immigration is important to them in second place.
Yeah, and this is daily lives. We understand politics. America, we're a great country. We go through this every 2 years. We get it. And there's a point where we realize that we're at stake, right? And life, there's nothing guaranteed in life, but this is dangerous. And let me just say, yesterday, a New York Times Siena poll, and the reason she's going to Arizona isn't because she cares about the border. She likes what's been happening, is that this is the first poll they've done since the debate, is Trump is up.
Ladies and gentlemen, who do you think would be better for the border? The current vice president or the 45th? Who do you think would be better for the border? Double tap your screen, subscribe to the channel. Let's go.
Beyond the margin of error in Arizona by 5. And this is why she's going. She's seeing, and it's likely voters. Most polls have been doing registered voters. It's likely voters. He's not only up in Arizona, but also in North Carolina and Georgia. He is leading her. So these are important indicators. After that debate, which she won, apparently not so much, the results matter. And Americans are really, we understand that people make mistakes and change their mind, but we want specifics about what it is you're going to do about the fact that our house is on fire. If the fire department is like having chats and talking gobbledygook and word salads, you say, put the fire out. And when you don't hear that, you begin to make another plan.
Well, look, we have a lot of fires. I don't know if you caught Senator Dan Sullivan, where we started today with the breaking news. No one's eyes on that foreign policy right now from her team. And how do we know? They don't put out anything. We haven't heard anything on this except for she might go to the border. Well, she's been to Arizona before. I wonder, okay. So newly resurfaced video now shows then Senator Kamala Harris protesting deportation.
education, down, down with deportation. Up with education, down, down with deportation. Up with education, down, down with deportation.
I like a good beat. We've seen record illegal crossings under the Biden-Harris administration. Millions of illegals now living in the United States. We don't know who any of them are in some cases or where they are. That does not include, by the way, that estimated 10 million who've come in under this administration, all the gotaways, the people who are here now aided by these planes that the administration has been flying in and making them legal as they fly into the country. That number was about 2 million last week as they were starting to release that. Look, it's all going to come out. The vice president also has been mocking former President Trump's plan for mass deportations. This was last week.
They have pledged to carry out the largest deportation, a mass deportation in American history. Imagine what that would look like and what that would be. How's that going to happen? Massive raids? Massive detention camps? What are they talking about?
Cue former President Obama. He can tell you how that works, Kamala Harris, because his nickname among Democrats was Deporter-in-Chief. A recent poll shows the majority of Americans support this 54% deportation of people who are here illegally. Tammy.
Well, this is a direct strike on citizenship. Is that we have the value of being an American citizen that comes with responsibilities. It also comes, we pay taxes, but the most key element also is voting. That we're the sovereign. The founders knew this was going to be important. But in order to be a sovereign of a country, you've got to have a country. Without a border, without an idea of what makes a person in America.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. That's the end of our live stream. Look. Wait, are we back? Okay, yeah, we're back. That is the end of our live stream. Smash the like button, double tap your screen. Look, this is the deal. I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for being a part of the live show. You guys are the best. Instead of looking for perfection, seek for consistency. Instead of looking for perfection, seek for consistency. Okay? You know what time it is. Subscribe to the channel, smash the like button. Make sure you vote. Okay? Make sure you vote. Make sure you vote. Thank you to YouTube. YouTube. Thank you. Okay? That's all I can say. That's all I can say, YouTube. Thank you to YouTube. That's all I can say. Okay? Smash the like button one more time. Subscribe to the channel. All right. God bless you guys.